Beth Bowles with the University of Florida Extension in Escambia County, and even though we're at the end of the season, people have a lot of question about the weeds that are in their yard. And a lot of times when they bring in weeds for us to identify, they are very mature and it's not necessarily the time to manage them. But still, let's talk about one of the most common weeds that's brought into our office that I'm holding here, called gripeweed or chamber bitter, or people will refer to it as the little mimosa tree. This is a summer annual weed. You see how much it can grow, but in a lot of people's yards, when they mow, it will stay much smaller than this. The characteristic of this particular weed is on the undersides of the leaves, you have the fruit that contain lots and lots of seed. So if you let these go in the garden, all those will kind of explode, and next year when the weather warms again, you're going to have a lot of plants and weeds that emerge in that area. Now, one thing about chamber bitter, there are several different management techniques that you can employ, and you really need to use all those to help work on this weed. One is not the answer for this. You need to use the entire toolbox. But even though you're seeing it now and we can help you identify it, we're definitely going to tell you how to manage it and start working on that for next season. So let's look at an area in our bed where we have quite a few coming up, and we'll talk about some of those management techniques. Now, the chamber bitter weed will grow in both lawn grasses and ornamental beds, and in our ornamental bed here, it has emerged in a plant that we like called the mondo grass. So, of course, one of the management techniques is to come in here and pull it out carefully and then throw it away. Hand pulling is still a very important weed management technique. So you can get in here, especially because there's desirable plants. We really don't want to use a lot of herbicides that may not be labeled for this situation. Now, one thing you also need to think of, when you pull these out, you are pulling up soil from below. So a technique is to very carefully, when you get through, get a good mulch and cover that area back up with some mulch to help not expose new seedlings for germination. If you're installing a plant, the same thing applies. If you're digging soil out, you're bringing up more chamber bitter root or seeds that are going to want to germinate. Now, if this is a lawn area, you can think about an herbicide for those areas, or even some of our ornamental beds. The key with using an herbicide for chamber bitter is that we like to use a pre-emergent herbicide. Chamber bitter really likes warmer weather, so the timing of your pre-emergent herbicide is critical. We want to think about having that pre-emergent herbicide placed down and applied mid-April to the 1st of May of each year. This is a really warm soil germination, so if we put that pre-emergent too early, we're really missing the germination of this plant. Now remember, you have to use a product that's labeled for either the ornamental bed or the turf grass, so make sure you talk to us if you have questions, or talk to your nursery professional so that you get the right product and apply it correctly. Now again, that pre-emergent herbicide is not going to get every single weed that you have, so other things that you can do is manage your water as best you can. It loves a lot of water and will come into thinning areas, especially if the turf is not doing well. And also, if in the turf, mow your grass at the correct height to prevent that sunlight from getting down. But right now, the best thing you can do for this chamber bitter is come in here and do some good old-fashioned hand pulling, and very carefully throw those away to reduce some of that seed bank into your yard. You may not think you're doing a lot right now, but remember, all of these little seed pods are things that can come back next year. So you'll certainly be doing a lot right now to help until you can start that plan for next season for our good old chamber bitter. If you need more information on chamber bitter or any other weed problem, contact us here at the University of Florida, Escambia County Extension.